We're going to have an overview of the science of movement. The three planes of human movement are sagittal, which can also be called median plane, frontal plane, which can also be called the coronal plane, and then the horizontal plane, which can also be referred to as the transverse plane. Let's deal with sagittal plane first. To help you learn, have the visual of a sliding glass door coming directly to me, separating my body into left and right halves. Any motion that's going to run parallel to that sliding glass door would be called the sagittal plane. An example would be a reverse lunge. Flexion and extension of the hip, the knee, the ankle, as an example. Another one would simply be a front raise. Shoulder, flexion, and extension. So these are just a few examples of sagittal plane, with the primary joint motions being flexion and extension all the way from the head all the way down to the ankles. With the frontal plane, also referred to as the coronal plane, once again, visualize the sliding glass door coming from the lateral part of my body, separating my body into front half and back half. So any motion that runs parallel to this sliding glass door coming from my side is going to be considered frontal plane. The primary joint motions that we're going to talk about in this plane are ab and adduction, or lateral flexion. Ab and abduction, example would be a lateral lunge. Ab and abduction of the hip. We can take it to the shoulder. Ab and abduction of the shoulder. And then lateral flexion, once again, working parallel to this sliding glass door for lateral flexion of the spine. When discussing the horizontal plane, also called the transverse plane, it's all about rotation. And rotation through the hip, the trunk, the shoulders, whatever it may be, anything that is rotating is going to be considered transverse or horizontal plane. Now, back to the sliding glass door. Imagine this sliding glass door floating here. So now it's actually turned up 90 degrees and floating here, coming at me, dividing my body into a bottom half and a top half. So any motion that's going to be moving parallel to that sliding glass door coming this way is going to be considered the horizontal plane. Sample movement patterns: rotating the cervical spine, rotating the shoulder, rotating the trunk in a push-up position, rotating out of your plank. These are considered horizontal plane movements.
Now, let's take a brief quiz.